Okay, so we have a new calendar. Yikes, those are the tests. Um, let's take attendance. Let's illegally put you on the internet. Here, you can turn me in. My face can't be on YouTube. All right, let me just take attendance here real quick. There they are. Look at them all. Here's my class. All right, what? Okay, I probably get. Oh, I can't do it this way. This is so ridiculous. Okay, boom. Sorry for all the bad stuff. I'll have to cut that off so I don't get sued for putting your picture on the internet of a video that no one's gonna watch. All right. So here's a quarter four calendar. Got to go to our prob stats, delete the other calendar, and then open up the quarter four calendar, and then we start it off here. So the reason I'm starting with this is because just to remind you what's here, and please pay attention so that we can answer all questions that you might be worried about. Here's yesterday's worksheet, which I went through that domino with you so that we could get everything covered. We pretty much covered everything except a proportion question. And now I put the key there, so you have the key. Now the review that you picked up, I'm going to open up the key right now. I only gave you 1 through 16 because I just handed back your quiz from last week, not Monday's quiz. The quiz from last week, 11-1 and 11-2. On the test, we are going to have those questions. So I gave you what I gave last year's students only up to 16. So there you go. You can still look up the key, and I made it into 2 pages instead of 3, so I'd save a tree. But then here's another thing. If you have time, you can peruse the rest of what I gave last year. This is overdoing it. If I gave you this, I'd be really mean. That's a lot of homework. But you can actually look at those and get an idea of what those are supposed to look like as well, extra. But you know what? That's in this worksheet already. So you're already getting that practice. So you have that. You can do these, and I'm expecting you to do these. And then you have the key for that as well. So that's what we can do tonight. And I did tell you that yesterday. I wanted you to at least get the front page of yesterday's homework done. Now you get the next 2 pages plus those 2 pages. That should prepare you for the test tomorrow. You got all the keys in front of you in order to succeed at that. Now, the homework quiz. This is where your focus must be where it's at because I'm going to explain all these things. This was too disastrous. This was not good Monday. This made me sad. But we will move on from that and try to progress and learn from our mistakes and our maybe lack of getting all these things hashed out in our head. Okay, so here's number 1. Get your purple sheet out and your 2 Z charts, or the Z and T chart. And then right off the bat, I'm just going to teach this as you're listening, although, what's 2 plus 2? 4. That proves you're listening. I asked that second hour, and I heard the cricket behind the heater back there. All right, you not listening means you're not in tune with my questions and can actually answer those, and that's a problem. I got a hand up. I got to answer it right away. Let's continue. All right. So what does this mean? Back to that interruption there. That's okay. He deserved what I gave him. That sounds bad, actually. I gave him a nice little sheet, a formula sheet. Okay, so what formula, or what does that mean? S. What does S mean? It's actually it's a standard deviation of a sample, which means it's a T. So you go to your second sheet I gave you. What are the degrees of freedom? What are the degrees of freedom? Oh my gosh. 23. I am just going to answer the questions. It's going to be Mr. Samuelis and little Danny. Hi, Mr. Samuelis. Hi, Danny. You're such a good student. All right, so I go to 23, and then I cross-reference it with 99%. Boom, that's where I get the 2.807. I can't help you if you cannot make these designations separated in your brain. It needs to get done by tomorrow. Okay, so what is this variable? And this is why I'm angry, because I've talked about this variable before this chapter. That is the population standard deviation, which in your mind you instantaneously, what was that word? Need to know that that's a Z number. Oh, I'm so mean though. Okay, now look at the 2 sheets. And of course on the video you don't know I'm not showing you these sheets, but I gave you 2. So when I look at the second one, I have students that don't get this. On the bottom, these are our popular ones, and I'm giving them to you. But do you see 72% down here? Yes or no? No, so then that's when you have to do it the hard way. And by the way, if I do it the hard way in the first sheet, it matches the second sheet numbers. Okay, but that's the point. All right. So now I have to do it the hard way. Here's the hard way. It's not really hard. Whoop, it's hard to get a pen. Okay. Bloop, bloop. 72%, right, is in the middle. What's the tails? Well, half of 28%, which is 14. And then what I have to do is understand how my first sheet is organized, the one that just has all the Z tables front and back. These critical numbers. Oh, by the way, I know I'm jumping around. What does it mean to find the critical value? Only find Z or T depending on what kind of question you have. And that's what I'm going over right now. S, it's a T. Lowercase sigma, it's a Z. All right, well, the way the first sheet's organized, that's the area left of this Z value. So in order to find this Z star value, I got to find the Z star value that corresponds to this area, 72 plus 14. So you look up 0.8600 and you get 1.08 as a Z value. So that's your Z star value. So back to this. What does this mean yet again? Repeat so those get it nailed in their head so it's solidified. That's sample standard deviation, which means what is this letter? What does that represent? A T. Okay, and then here's where I'm really... Look at this. This formula right here, the third one on the purple sheet, what's the letter at the top of that fraction? An S. Look at what's left of that S. A T. That's another reason there is no excuse grabbing the wrong thing for number 3. None. Okay, got to get over this. Got to move on. Got to figure it out. Hey, what's this? What's that letter mean? And then also look at the formula. Oh, that's the second one. That's lowercase sigma. That means population standard deviation. Look at what's left of it next to it. A Z star. So this is a Z star value. Oh, I'm such a jerk. That's what I hear out there. Because is 56 on your second sheet for easy Z values? No, so we got to do this again. 56. I think we have 44. Half of 44 is 22. Hike. And then to look up on the first sheet what this Z number is, which is actually a Z star number, we have to actually look up 56 plus 22. Uh-oh. Fumbleia of the phone. All right, and this one's pretty easy. This is a proportion question. Is it okay? Is that a phone? Oh. All right, so this one you just plug in. I think almost everyone got that one right. Right? All right, let's go to the next one. I hope you're paying attention. Squirrel! Look what I highlighted in yellow in the sentence. What did I highlight? Population standard deviation. Look at your purple sheets. And then look up at me. The second one on the purple sheet, that's called standard error of a Z-test. Third one on your sheet, that's called, I'm sorry, wrong. The second one's margin of error. My bad, dogs. Third one is a T-test margin of error. The fifth one, which is the first one on the bottom, is margin of error for a proportion. So those are some things you should. I've given you more than I gave last year. Way more. They never got the sheet ahead of time as far as I can remember. I may have shown it to them once, but not handed them their own one. So with this being given, this is a Z test. That is it. We're overdoing it. I'm confused. I can't help you. It is what it is. My name's Danny. Why am I Danny? I don't know. Someone named me that, and that's my name. There is no I don't get it. This is what happens. You need to get this figured out. I forgot Danny and Mr. Samuelis are talking together. So what do we do here? We got to put this all in our calculator. And then, you know what? You don't need the standard deviation of that sample because they gave you the standard deviation of the population. So the only thing I need out of this list is I'll erase it and then go ahead and go back on it. The mean. All right? So they give you the standard deviation of the population. That makes this a Z. And luckily, this is a 98% interval. Look at your second sheet. 98% is given, so 2.326 is what I just pull, and I don't have to do that extra work. All right, so do understand the existence of these two sheets. All right, and what the second sheet sometimes does for you. Sometimes the second sheet just gives you the Z number so you don't have to do that work. Sometimes it doesn't, and then you have to do the work to find it using the first sheet. And I hope that's clarified at this point, through these chapters. I know it's a challenge. I told you first time last year I had to teach this for the first time. That's why I pulled those other videos from that other stats guy to give myself a chance to understand it, so I could project it to you guys in a simpler way. Now it's the time to get it done. Hey, I got to type that in my calculator. What is not said in this sentence ever? What is not in this sentence at all? What don't I read in this sentence? The standard deviation of? Well, no. The population. So not once in that sentence do they say anything about the standard deviation of the population. This is what I was getting, though. I was getting students, but it says this word, Mr. Samuelis. I see that word, and you're not getting it. This is what stats are all about in all of these questions, all of them. This last one, for instance, notice what letter this is. What is this letter? What is that letter right in the middle there? And I know I'm going back and forth, but I want to get you the encompassing, just general idea. From this sample, we are trying to say something about everybody that, what is this one? What do they do for this? Precipitation, forever in Alaska. What should it be between? So the sample is trying to say something about the population parameter. Not population standard deviation. Those are two completely different things. I had people doing that. Oh, I see the word population. No, you're missing it. The whole general idea of statistics is from a sample, we could say something about all of the students that take an SAT score. So that has nothing to do with what we have to figure out here. So with all that being said, I had some people put 303 up at the top here. Check yourself right now. What you did is you access what I don't know why the calculator is giving you this. All right, you have to actually access in one variable stats SX. That is standard deviation of the sample, and then that means it's a t-test. So this number that I'm erasing right now, nope. This number that I'm erasing right now, and then putting this back, that is a T number. Maybe I'll do that in blue. Hey, what's yellow and blue make? Remember that question? Purple! Anyway. Okay, so let me stop the video for a second and see if there's any questions. I know this is misleading. And I don't even know why the calculator shows this thing. I don't get it myself. Right below S of X, they have standard deviation of the population of X equals. And don't access that. That's for those that put 303, I think was the number. Anyone? Don't feel bad. Anyone put 303 as that top number in this one? Is anybody listening right now? Okay, so I saw a lot of people put 303, and I was like, why are they getting 303 there? I think I know what it is. Okay, now next. This is a population. Wrong! I just had a P word in my head. All right? Proportion question. Let me erase all the highlighting. I shouldn't have this left up here. How do I know that? Because 33% of the people do this. All right? So that means 33% is a proportion. Change to 33 over 100. That's what the word proportion means. When I look at my formula sheet, you are at this fifth one that is under my thumb right now. Under my thumb, girl. Anyone know who sings that? Y'all hate me. That's fine. It's actually the Rolling Stones. So that is actually... Did you know that? The mean. Just like Mr. Samuelis. Plus or minus. Now, proportion, look at that formula. That's a Z by default. 98% is luckily on your second sheet. No work to do. 98, right there, 2.326. No hard way of doing that. And then the formula is flat out. I had some people not write the formula down right. Make sure you copy correctly. I thought you guys were professional copiers, by the way. But some people miss that square root, and then it screwed up the whole thing. So be careful on that. Hey, notice what I have here. What is that instead of what you may have written, which I didn't mark you wrong for? It's not mu, it's what? P. And then what is this actually? This is called P hat. This is the probability or the proportion of a sample. And then what you're trying to say from this sample, this little sample, 33% did this. So all the people should be between these two values. And that's what we're trying to say, as far as the overall statistics thing. So again, people overdid this word right here. Population. So population. No. That's the population parameter. That is the whole idea of statistics. From a sample, say something about everybody. And then why is this one a proportion question? Well, we don't have an obvious percent given, but it says 657 out of 1,015 did this. You read the question, what it really is saying about it. So from that, I can come up with a percentage of people that did this, and therefore it's a proportion question. And then it is that fifth formula again, under my thumb. People online don't know what I'm doing. 0.647, no one's going to watch it anyway. And then this is automatically a Z, so this is a Z number that I can look up. And then the formula is quite specific what has to go in. And then really do check yourself, honestly, without all the kidding and stuff. Make sure you can calculate these numbers. Somebody put a negative here. I don't know what to tell you. You're missing the overall scheme of things. The sample percent of people that you had was 64.7%. So the population should be close within those parameters. Putting a negative there means you don't know what's going on. You don't know the overall grand schemes of what we're doing here. And I'm trying to really enforce that so we can not make these silly errors and just put numbers on a paper without knowing what these numbers are even saying. And that was nice. I didn't make you write sentences because of time. So again, the overall grand schemes, the sample gives me this percent. So all people should fall between these two percentages, between 61.8% and 67.6%. So that's, getting these weird answers. I know there's a problem there. And then this is another one where I see 41% of Americans do this, so that instantaneously is a P. And then what is this minimal sample size for the last time? Minimal sample size is, for instance, like let's do the light bulb, and I keep repeating myself because I have to, because we're not all getting it all together here. I make 1 million light bulbs. How many should I test of those 1 million light bulbs to be within these conditions? A margin of error of this, and at a confidence level of this, and then it tells the company how many light bulbs I should pull out randomly and test before I try to sell the rest of the million. I really feel that's why we are doing the minimal sample size formulas. It makes a lot of sense. So this one being a proportion, it's the last formula on your formula sheet. Here's another idea. I saw a lot of people not square. I can't help you. The formula's right in front of you. All right, you had 4 or 3 people with working on this. I don't know if some were copying or not, but the way you work together is you make sure everyone did the right thing. Just got to be careful on that. Of course, that doesn't help you tomorrow. You just got to be precision on your own. All right, so then I'm going to stop the video, and we're going to go over the quiz from 11.1 to 11.2. But for anyone that watched this video, that is why I gave this little review sheet, which I do have to put the hyperlink for that. One more time, we are also going to have these kind of questions on the test, and you missing class misses that next part of going over these questions. Okay? All right, done.